This is the Paperclipping Roundtable, the scrapbooking audio show that's designed to inspire, educate, and entertain you.
You're listening to episode 221, recorded September 8th, 2014, Fault Dichotomy.
The Paperclipping Roundtable is brought to you by BigPictureClasses.com. Get 10% off any class with a coupon code you'll find at paperclipping.com/bigpicture.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Paperclipping Roundtable. I'm your host, Noelle Hyman from paperclipping.com, where we have scrapbooking video tutorials along with this show. And we have our producer, who's also my husband, Izzy from izzyvideo.com.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey. 3 out of 5 of us on the show are experiencing what we thought was 50-year floods is now 75-year floods, I hear.
75-year?
Yeah,
oh,
we're now up to a 75-year record in rain.
Yeah, the news, they were saying that it looked like we're heading towards the 100-year flood.
Oh, maybe it's beyond the 75-year then.
And our friend Alan, he says, he put on Facebook, he said, okay, so the average rainfall in Arizona is 7 inches per year.
For a whole year.
And Chandler in the last 24 hours has gotten 5 inches, is what he said.
We've got almost a year's worth of rain.
Yeah, I know. It's nice to get a year's worth of anything all at once.
Our pool is flooded. We have Lane on the show, who's just brand new in Arizona. Lane, do you guys have a pool? Is it flooded?
We do have a pool. It is not flooded, thank goodness.
Yay!
Well, Lane, welcome to the show today.
Thank you.
How do you like your debut to Arizona?
Oh, I love it. We absolutely love Arizona.
Awesome.
Do you have frogs? Do you have frogs right now?
We haven't had frogs, but we've had lizards and snakes. Oh my.
Yeah.
We haven't had snakes ever, but we've had scorpions a little bit and lizards plenty.
Yeah, this is the best advertisement for Arizona ever. Like anybody listening to this is like, okay, cancel all my plans. I'm not going to Arizona.
Yeah,
but I saw a coyote crossing the road as I was driving back this morning. The poor guy, his house must have, or his den must have just gotten flooded out because we live in a pretty, it's not a rural area. So to see a coyote would be very rare. And
where you are. Yeah. And they're so skinny. It's sad to see a coyote.
It's kind of wild. I wonder if they think that when they're looking at humans. Some of those humans are so skinny. It's kind of sad to see them.
Okay.
Who else is on the show?
Let me tell a little bit more about Lane real quick. Lane, Lane, I never know whether I should introduce you as like the owner, runner, producer of Layout a Day or Scrap Happy, or what's your main? Layout a Day is your main thing, right?
Yes, that's the source for all things scrappy in my world. But right now we've got True Scrap coming up, so you could probably introduce me with that, and that would be awesome.
I'm excited. So yeah, Lane has started 4 years ago. Started running this event. It was twice a year, and you've now moved it to once a year, called True Scrap. It's a massive online event. It's super fun. Lane is a great host, so she makes it really fun, and I've been able to teach at it every time. And Jennifer, we haven't introduced you yet, but I'll just say real quick now, Jennifer Gallagher, you've been on it every time too, am I right?
No, I think
you came in at 2.
Yeah,
and then Aaron's been on a couple times too, so we got a whole crowd of fantastic True Scrap teachers here.
Awesome, fun. So yeah, it launches this week, or the ability to sign up for it launches this week, tomorrow. In fact, I don't know when this show will go out. I'm hoping it'll go out today, Izzy, by the way.
No pressure.
I love it. No pressure.
And so anyway, it's a very exciting time, at least for me and Lane, and this year for Jennifer. So let's so that's should I say anything else about that, Lane, before I introduce Jennifer more officially?
No, that's great. Just that it's an amazing event. It's like getting together with all your best scrappy friends in a virtual interactive environment. So you get the best of the pre-recorded video with access to the instructors and your community live. So it's really fun, and there's nothing quite like it out there.
No, there's a PJ party the night before, and it's great. So we'll have the link to the information page for True Scrap for those who want to check it out. But now who I'm going to officially introduce again is Jennifer Gallagher. Hey, welcome to the show, Jen.
Hey guys.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And Jennifer, I'm trying to remember when we had you on last time. I think that 2Ps had just announced they were closing. Is that right?
Yes. That is right.
So everybody, I'm sure, is wondering if they haven't been, checking up on you. What are you doing now?
Moving, and moving.
Still moving, right?
All of
I
us.
think Lane, Aaron, and I have all moved fairly recently. haven't we? Yeah.
How weird.
So just trying to set up my craft space and find everything again. So
you haven't hooked yourself up with any kind of replacement yet, a two-piece replacement?
I haven't. I think the first thing was just to get my life in order
Yeah.
and professionally get things in order.
But you are doing True Scrap.
I am doing
Cool.
True Scrap.
Very cool.
Sometimes it's good just to take a step back and assume an aggressive stance
Of nothing.
so that then you can attack again. Don't you think?
Just
A power stance.
Yeah, and right now you're assuming an aggressive stance.
That's it. I'm being aggressive. I'm aggressively sitting on my chair.
That's awesome. All right. And then let's see. Then let's introduce we've sort of already fake introduced or pre-introduced Erin as well. Erin Bassett, hello. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
And thank you for joining us too. Erin, do you want to tell the audience what you do in the scrapbook industry? Because you've done so much. It's just insane.
Yeah, I do a whole lot of things. Right now, I'm a brand ambassador for Brother International Scan and Cut. And so that keeps me pretty busy. I do a lot of traveling with that and teaching and demoing around the North America. So I might see you sometime soon.
Because you go all around to, what kind of events do you go to for them?
Different conventions. I mean, obviously CHA and that sort of thing, but even in quilt market and things like that that are outside of our little bubble. But other crafty events.
So are a lot of our quilters using the scan and cut?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, big time.
Wow. Okay, that's cool. All right.
Is the scan and cut, is that the device that we saw where the
fashion show guy.
the fashion show?
Yes.
Yeah.
What was it?
Yes.
It was like last fashion designer standing or something like that. What was that called? What was that?
What is that?
He won that award.
Yes,
Whatever it was.
I'm like trying to think. His name's Anthony. He's a really nice guy in real life.
Yeah.
It is, it's that one with that model.
Celebrity fashion runway show.
Yes.
A bunch of our
Project
audience knows they're
Runway?
going crazy.
Yes,
Project
there we
Runway.
go.
Project
yeah.
Runway. There we go.
And we needed a demo, so we came in later and got Erin's hands demoing, and then with all the craziness, we never got that part of the video.
Oh, you really?
in there. No, we didn't. No. And then somebody was like, "Oh, it would have been nice to see it in action." And I was like, "Yeah, sorry."
Well, it was kind of cool because the guy, Anthony, I guess is his name, he made his own little bag using this little thing that looks like a printer. It's kind of, for anybody who hasn't seen it, it's kind of wild.
Yeah.
It like cuts fabric. Does it sew too?
No, it just scans and cuts. Like
It
its name
scans like a scan.
Scans, cuts, and
Scans.
sews.
Scanner. It scans
Scan
like
and
a
cut.
scanner.
Yeah.
Right. And then cuts out the design.
And then cuts out whatever it is you scan.
So
Yeah.
if you have a stamp you love, you can
Right.
stamp it and have it cut, or you can draw something and have it cut. It's really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you can't do a pick of the week now because I think we just promoted the heck out of that thing. So, no, I'm just kidding.
All right, I have one piece of mail for Izzy to read.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Don't know who
is-
sent this.
It's in response to
Previously on the Paperclipping Roundtable.
what did we talk about? Oh, yeah, empty nesters and scrapbooking, and this is it was one of those great episodes where we go beyond scrapbooking and it's like
Meaning of life.
yeah, with the scrapbooking too. There were such great stories and things I had never considered. So
Yeah.
this is in response to that.
That was episode 220, by the way. If you're listening to this and you didn't listen to 220, go check it out. It's really good. I thought it was a good show. And I'm not even an empty nester or a scrapbooker. Okay, let's see. So this is in response to that. Noelle, who sent this?
Jennifer Larson. Did I not put the name
No,
there?
no, that's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
When I saw the title of the episode, I waited with bated breath to find out what it meant in an episode about empty nesters. And what a payoff. The story made me actually laugh out loud when I was walking the dog. And I know that must have made me look like a fool, but I don't care. There can never be enough laughter in the world. Living in Minnesota myself and now looking forward to door-to-door lemonade and massage sales, coolers, and dirty hands and all. This is such a great episode, and not just for empty nesters. It reminded me of all the transitions in our lives and how sometimes perspective makes us look on our experience in different ways. This episode did a great job of selling scrapbooking and its value. from the way it gives us a venue to reflect on those transitions, to the way it connects and grounds people to their identities and to the lives of the ones they love. Thank you for being such for being such great ambassadors for such a wonderful hobby.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
Anytime a show can totally, quote, sell scrapbooking, that's good.
I know. They resold me on it.
Yeah, they did? What
Yes,
do you mean?
this was a great, that's a good point. It was a great episode for selling scrapbooking. I mean, hearing about the sons bringing home their future wives or serious girlfriends and sitting down, the sons pulling out the scrapbooks and sitting down and introducing to their ladies what they're, who they are from their background, like, where they came from and through their scrapbooks. And that was, for me, that was one of the many wonderful sales, selling points, I guess, of scrapbooking.
And in the comments on that episode, people came in and said, yeah, actually, my kids did the same thing. They brought a girl home from school or whatever and went through the scrapbooks with her to kind of introduce her to what my life has been like up to this point.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, my kids, they're each going to have their own documentary about them. And then
they'll just watch that.
They'll just watch the 2-hour documentary. It'll make them laugh. It'll make them cry,
Yeah. One of the ladies in the comments said that even the girlfriend, one of their son's girlfriends had heard about the scrapbooks and was asking, can I see the scrapbooks or something like that? It's really cool. So yeah, that's what many of us have to look forward to. I thought we would spend more time on stories of, more time on some of the topics of what people scrapbook now that their kids are gone. And we did spend a little bit of time on that, but it went in a direction I was just not expecting. And that's one of the great things about, having different guests on the show and bringing in their perspectives rather than always just my own. So I love it. Okay. Let's go into real quick. We'll share a little message from our sponsor, Big Picture Classes, because Kathy Zielski has a new guided workshop going up. They now call them guided workshops, not live workshops. And Kathy Zielski, so she's done this. A lot of people know about her previous class called Me, the Abridged Version. And it's like you tell stories about yourself from A to Z, being the alphabet, the letters of the alphabet being prompts, to these stories about yourself. But this one is a new Project Life version. So really, I guess it's pocket page version. So you don't have to be a Project Lifer necessarily, but you're going to do it in pockets, and you'll end up, I think it says 28 12 by 12 pages in this album, and of course, there's all this beautiful Kathy Zielski design goodness that is absolutely gorgeous, which you'll see when you go to the page about this guided workshop. You will see everything that you get, and you'll see an example of like the cover, one of the cards that she's got in her cover page, and this is a 4-week guided workshop. And if you want to check it out, learn more about it, and see what other workshops they've got and other self-paced classes they've got, Izzy, what should they do? Just go to paperclipping.com/big picture, all one word there, and you'll find an affiliate link. Please click on that link before you go shopping over there. That link is your entrance into that other website. So please use that because that helps support the show. It doesn't cost you any more. In fact, it could cost you less because we also have a coupon code that you can use to get 10% off your total purchase. So if you get this class and additional classes and then just add them all up and take away 10%, you get a nice little discount there. So once again, that's paperclipping.com/big picture. And thank you to everybody who uses that affiliate link. Appreciate it. Keeps the show going. In addition to that, I would also like to invite everybody to check out True Scrap. I sent an email out today. It launches tomorrow, and I'll be giving something away. Lane's giving something away. There's extra bonuses. It's exciting, so watch for that. Okay, let's jump into our discussion topic. This was by request, and I think this will be fun. There's a list of questions that were thrown out to us, and we're going to talk about scrapbooking as a job or as a career. Two of us, myself and Lane, own our own businesses, obviously. Well, obviously I do. And if you don't know Lane, now you know she does too. And then we've got Jennifer Gallagher, who has worked on many design teams, especially, well, I don't know if it's especially, but lately as a garden girl until recently for Two Peas in a Bucket. So you've got your own assignments that you've always done. And then also you, Erin, as well, you've done a lot of, you've worked for a lot of different companies and worked by assignments quite a bit and demonstrated. So we kind of work in slightly different ways, the two of you and the two of us. So going from a couple different perspectives. So let's see. I'm curious to, so the first question actually was this. She said, we hear two different philosophies regarding careers and passions. And one of them is do what you love. But then the other one is that don't do what you love, or just be wary about doing what you love, because when you do what you love, it becomes a job instead of a passion. So I'm curious what you all have found in regards to these two different sort of opposing concepts. Which one has been more true to you and why? Lay, maybe you can share first.
That is a great question. And I think that it's sort of a false dichotomy that you have to choose between loving it or making it work. And I don't think for me, it's definitely not a one or the other. There are days where any job's going to feel like a job. There are certain parts of my business that I enjoy more than others. And my philosophy has always been, if I expect it to bring me a full-time income, I need to treat it as a full-time job. Job meaning there's a certain level of commitment. There are certain requirements. I can't just take off for a month and expect it to still chug along without regular inputs from me and responsibilities. And it's a different mindset, definitely, to move it from a hobby to a career. And I think that's where the change is for me, not versus passion versus job, but hobby versus career.
So would you say that the job part of it for you, where sometimes it's, you may not be that into it, but you have to do it because it's your career. Does that also leak into the actual scrapbooking part, or is that more really about the logistical part of running the business?
That's a good question. I have been very intentional about the type of business I've created. And for those of you who don't know me, I don't do a lot of how to, for me personally, I don't teach that kind of class. Instead, I'm all about embracing people embracing their stories, sharing those stories, breaking down the rules, not worrying if you're doing it quote unquote right. And because that's my philosophy that I'm teaching, I live that philosophy also. So I don't get myself in a corner where I feel like, oh my gosh, I've got to use this product because I'm getting paid to do that. Or I've got to produce 16 layouts this week because that's expected. Instead, it's really been about the process and less about the outcome. And that has given me a lot of freedom. And again, that's just my preference. There are a lot of people who are more design oriented. And I'm sure Erin and Jen, you can talk to this where you might get your inspiration from being challenged to use this particular product or something like that. Whereas for me, that takes away that's not my preference that's not my mission. My mission is more about the stories. And so I don't feel that pressure like I have to be doing something in particular with my scrapbooking. I have a lot of freedom there.
So for you, yeah, the actual scrapbooking part, it sounds like what you're saying is that part still remains fun because you've designed your career to have it not.
Exactly. And like you were saying, there are other parts with the infrastructure that I do not enjoy as much. And some of them, like the bookkeeping side of things or following up on things, or creating systems, I don't enjoy that at all. Yet it's part of my vision for my business. And that's what it comes down to is what do you want when I'm counseling other people who are building their businesses? What do you want that to look like? Start with the end result and then work back from there. Because if you do want it to be all fun and not do things you don't enjoy doing, that's possible. And that may mean you're somewhat more limited in the income that you can generate because you don't want to go down this particular path.
Yeah. And that's a choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So what about, Erin, what about you? Has it been a do what you love more experience for you, or has it been a when you do what you love, it becomes a job rather than a passion experience?
Well, I agree with what Lane was saying. Any job has good days and bad days. And especially, if it's tax day, obviously that's not going to be my funnest day at work. So, yeah, so there's, good and bad to it. But I do like the challenge of, you have this product to work with that you're not crazy about. And how can you make it turn into a project that you really like and want to put, your stamp of, Aaron made this on it. So I do like that challenge. It gets, a little crazy when it's like CHA time and you have so many companies you're working with and need stuff for you on a deadline and, or you're not feeling well and you still have to create that, there's definitely hard sides to this business, but I try to really make projects that I still enjoy and would use, if I'm able to keep them in my personal scrapbooks. So, it depends on the day. It really does.
So do you find that you usually, when you have like a product you're assigned to use, are you most of the time able to make something that you like out of it, even if you didn't originally love that product?
For sure. Yeah. I used to be on a design team for a local scrapbook store, and, there would be product that wouldn't be selling in the store. So they'd give it to the design team to whip up something. And you're just like, oh goodness, how am I ever going to create something nice out of this? But you would, you would really have to put on your thinking cap sometimes, but you'd whip up a project and then that product would sell out at the store. So, it's a fun challenge to have. And sometimes you don't know how you're going to get over it, but it's fun.
So does that challenge actually excite you, or do you go through a stage of, oh, why am I doing this? And then you like it later?
Yeah, my first thought is, I have to do what? So, but then, yeah, once that initial panic attack is over, then I'm pretty cool with it. Like, okay, how can I conquer this? How can I beat this? So.
All right. And Jennifer, what about you? Is it a do what you love experience, or a when you do what you love, it becomes a job rather than a passion?
For me, my job morphed a little bit in the last 3 years. So I've been on design teams and written for catalogs, done catalog photography for about 17 years. But about 3 years ago, Echo Park hired me full time, and I do a bunch of different hybrid jobs there. I'm their marketing coordinator. I write their catalog text, and
I didn't know you did all that.
Yeah, and so I do all of this other things, which allows me to love it from a different perspective. So I get to play with it, but I also get to analyze it and think about, how is someone else going to use this? How is this going to benefit them? How can I help them explain the vision that we had in the first place? So I think the key is to love what you do. You just get up and you say, okay, where can I find the passion within this task? I agree, paying taxes. I'm never going to find passion there. But I think, I reward myself with a part of the job that I have passion for. And then I just do the other part of the job that needs doing, and I check it off. So
it sounds like what you're saying is it could become like the feeling of this is something I have to do. But a lot of it's your attitude.
Oh, absolutely. We all have things we have to do. We have to clean up our scrapbook rooms. That's not fun. I don't enjoy that. It has to be done on occasion, but I think the attitude is you find the moment and you find the joy in it. It did cross over from hobby to job for me, and I think the joy is a little different there. I get up, it pays the bills, I need to work, and then I find the moments where I'm completely happy doing it and having fun and excited about something that's coming down the pipeline. So,
yeah. And for me, I'm like Lane in that I chose to design my career in a way where I don't take assignments typically. And especially not product assignments where I need to use a product. I didn't want to do that. I just didn't want to. And also, one thing that this is maybe slightly different, but one thing that I very quickly decided was not going to be part of my career was to try products. And I know some people look forward to the idea of getting new product for free as one of the perks, but
We should clarify. You do try products. You don't review products. You don't let people send you review products, right?
Right. I don't. Yeah, I try
But
new
you try
products when
all
I'm
the time.
Yes.
You just buy them.
I buy them. I want to buy. I want to pay for my product because I can't tell you the amount of dread I feel at the idea of trying somebody's product and knowing that they want to know how I like it and they're hoping that I'll like it and then I'll tell people I like it. I just don't. I don't know. I feel like that's putting a chain around my neck. And
all you have to do is play dead. They go, so what'd you think? And you'll pass out. Narcolepsy, something like that.
It only works once, though, Izzy.
No, it doesn't. You only need to do it once because after that, people stop approaching you.
No, the pain I associate to that. Not only that obligation, but also like trying to then add that into my obligations of. I just don't have time to like even review things. So just the pain I associate to that it's just, I don't know, very painful. So I avoid it at all costs. But, so yeah, that's one way I've directed my job so that I don't have to do that. Cause then I probably would not like my job so much. I probably wouldn't enjoy scrapbooking as much, but, I would say when this became like a job, quote unquote job for me, in some ways I think like I got more excited, but in a different way. So the way that I feel about scrapbooking has changed. I don't know if I can explain why, but it's different. It did change, but it's in a different way. Like maybe it's kind of like when you're, you know what, the best comparison, maybe you guys tell me if you think this, if you feel this way. When you compare like the way you felt about your relationship with your spouse when you first were engaged and getting married compared to now that you've been married for a long time, you've been raising a family and you've had all these experiences and you've worked toward things, it's like a different love, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. More mature.
Yeah.
So what
Higher
you're
level
saying,
of commitment too.
Yeah.
so what you're saying is that in the early days you lusted after scrapbooking, but now you just love scrapbooking. Is that what you're saying?
My girlfriends and I went on a tour bus to like different states of visiting all the stores. I mean, it was just like crazy. And then, our destination was, CKU or whatever. So yeah, there was totally that lust of, oh, new product, I got to have it. So, so yes, I can relate to that.
Yeah. It's just different, right? They're both wonderful in their own way.
So scrapbooking hasn't.
He prefers the first.
Yeah, well, I
was gonna say, and the lust is there also, but he seems so like enthralled with the love part. I didn't want to ruin it.
Oh, you want to ruin the love with lust? You can't. It's impossible.
We have all these frogs now because of the flood.
Oh yeah, the rain.
There's this what? Oh, I thought I heard somebody say something. We have this kind of interesting pool, pool going on near our house right now. And there were like hundreds of frogs and you can hear them all croaking and they're looking for mates. And so I don't know why I brought that up. I'm stream of conscious. Sorry, that has nothing.
They're in love.
It was just a funny little morning experience
I don't know,
with the family.
Some illusion of primal passion or something. And next thing you know, you're talking about the frogs.
Okay.
So back to what we were talking about.
Thank you.
Noelle.
Yes.
You all had great answers to this, ladies. Fantastic. But Lane, you get bonus points for describing false dichotomy. And she brings up false dichotomies. That's awesome. That's awesome. Bonus points.
I'll see if I can top that.
Yeah. Good luck.
DJ would say.
Yeah. Well, one of two things is going to happen. Either you'll top false dichotomy or you won't. But just one of those two things will happen. That's it.
You're funny.
And Noelle, do you mind if I continue with the meta commentary on the conversation?
Okay.
You guys just speak freely, and then every once in a while I'm going to let you know how it's going so far. So I'm just kidding.
Okay, so do you guys only scrapbook to meet your job deadline? Maybe to create class content, or because it's an assignment, or to make your videos, or because you're running a layout a day, experience or something like that? Or do you also scrapbook on your personal time when there is no deadline and it's not for any kind of assignment or job necessity? Jennifer, do you do both, or is it pretty much always because you've got these deadlines? I mean, right now I know you're in between stuff, but let's say like it was still garden girl time.
sadly, I'm probably to the point where it's all for work. But thankfully, I work in an industry where I get to document my memories. So I don't feel bad about it. But there is a retreat coming up that my sister's going to, and I have no desire to go and spend 3 days doing my job on my off time. So I've lost a little bit of the love, but I love the company. So I need to find a way to go and absorb the awesomeness of the ladies that go. But oh my goodness, yes, I'm to the point where 8 hours a day is plenty.
Oh, so you are going to go? I thought you were going to say you said no, you're not going.
I'll show up, but I'm not going to stay.
Oh, that's funny. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're definitely scrapbook by assignment at this point.
Yes.
Okay. Erin?
Jen, I could totally relate to that because there was a season in my life where it was just like completely work. And yeah, if I was going to do something fun, it was not going to be in my scrapbook room. But now I feel like I have a better balance of it, you know, and I just think it's different seasons in life, you know.
So are you back to where you love it now?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like the same, you know, wake up every morning just dying to do it, but I do do it more. And like when crops and stuff come up, instead of dreading going or, oh, I'll just swing by and say hi, I actually bring like a kit or something where I don't have to think about it. I don't have to design it. I don't have to do anything. I can just talk, which is my main goal for being there is, you know, being with the girls and, you know, be able to work mindlessly on something. So
so when you're doing that, is that for do you end up using it for any kind of assignment or for work, or it's just yours to keep?
Just for me. Yeah. Might be making cards or, you know, just something simple.
Yeah.
And like I've blogged that before too, that like everything I make isn't on my blog. There's a lot of personal stuff or just, you know, stuff that I'm doing for the fun of it that just doesn't make the cut. So.
And why doesn't it make the cut? Because there was just too much and you couldn't get it up, or is it because you didn't love it?
Well, at times it's because I'm creating so much content, you know, that it would just be too crazy to have, you know, here's another post, here's another post. And, you know, it takes time to write blog posts too. And at other times it's just, you know, hey, this is something that I made for somebody or I made for our family, and it doesn't have to be public, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Lane, what about you?
I still do my own thing. It's the type of crafting that I do for my business is really, again, really free form. That the process is the focus rather than the outcome. So, for instance, I do scrapbook improv once a month where I take a kit from Gossamer Blue and I create 3 layouts live on camera. So I've got a lot of freedom there to do whatever I want. It's more like just scrapbooking my own thing while I'm on camera. It doesn't have to look a certain way at the end or anything like that. But then I'll also do a lot of stuff just on my own that I'm inspired to do, and it may find its way into something in the future, like my Layout a Day challenge. I may use one of the layouts as a sample for that. But I do create a lot of content, particularly that I would say most of the content I create talking about the crafts or the scrapbooks pages that I do end up in my job somehow, but it's kind of the reverse process. I'm not creating it for the job, but I'm creating it and then it fits in, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's not like you're assigned to do a specific layout.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Right.
How long are your live events where you're scrapbooking 3 pages live?
They are 90 minutes. So I do 3 layouts, 30 minutes.
That is amazing.
That's crazy.
I know. And because not only, okay, I've done this. I've done what you do. Years ago, I did a live scrapbooking show. Where I scrapbooked with the live video streaming, and you're not just scrapbooking. You're like talking to the audience. Well, I'm assuming, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, there's so much more going on that you have to kind of pay attention to and keep track of. In addition to you're making your decisions and stuff.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I'm blown away. That's amazing that you can do 3, because I only ever worked on 1. Were mine an hour and a half too, Izzy? Yes. Okay. And I only ever worked on 1 page, and I usually didn't have it finished. But it's so much to manage all at once. So that's really amazing.
But they were really fun, Noelle.
Thank you.
Yes.
They were. That was a fun
were.
time. Yes. It just doesn't work with my life anymore. But at the time, it was really fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of pressure though to like
I bet.
be on the ball. I mean, do you feel that way, Lane? To be there and live and be creating?
Oh, totally. And then Scrapbook Improv, we also add in the added twist that I'm using prompts. I'm not pre-planning the page at all. I don't even look at the kit before I sit down.
It's total improv.
I have a little spinner that I spin, and it tells me if I'm going to use cardstock or pattern paper, if I'm going to use the brads or I'm going to use the buttons. And so it's all right in the moment. I feel a lot of pressure beforehand, but then I realize that's the art of it, is that I'm creating it right there. It's the process. So I don't worry about the outcome so much.
That's wild. How often do you do it?
Once a month.
Okay. Yeah, and I was doing it every week, which was a lot it was a
lot. That is because I can't imagine trying to do that.
Yeah.
Let's bring a spinner into this show. Don't you think the show would be great? You know what we should
Find
do?
some way, yeah.
Yeah, what we should do is we should sit down, start recording, and then do the spinner, and it'll point to a name, and then we'll try to get that person on Skype and have them be a guest on the show, like right then and there.
Awesome. We'd be calling like 20 people. Shoot, they're not home.
They're not.
Let's see
they're
who's
not
next. Shoot, they're not home.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? When you do the improv, you have to be ready to crash and burn. It has to be a possible, outcome.
Go all in. Otherwise, that's if I'm holding back even a little bit, just like improv comedy, it isn't the same result. I have to just go all in and realize that some of them are going to be better than others, and that's okay.
That's awesome.
You're a true master.
No kidding.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So for me, that question for me, do you only scrapbook to meet a deadline? It's kind of yes and no, because we do regular content. Izzy and I make a video twice a month, plus sometimes I have other videos or something else I'm doing, and in addition to the two. And so typically, most of the time, my scrapbooking ends up in the next video. Whatever I'm working on now will usually end up in the next video, but not always. And what happens if that is the case, where it's going into the next video, what I'll often do is what I'm working on, what I want to work on, will give me my idea for what the topic is. So I'll start sometimes I have a topic in mind, but a lot of times I'll just start scrapbooking, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna, I don't know what I'm gonna do next, so this is just gonna help me get there, and that almost always does. So in that way, very rarely am I tailoring what I'm doing specifically for an assignment, even if it's my own assignment. But there are times when I've got a full week before I have to start thinking about the next video, because I don't have too much going on right now. And at that point, it's kind of like nice where I can go, yay, I can scrapbook all the way through to the very end without having to stop and wait for our video session. Because what I typically have to do is I start scrapbooking, and I figure out what I'm mostly going to do for my layout, and then I can't finish it. I can't glue anything. I can't do anything. I can't even make the last final design decisions because I've got to do it on video. So then I just have to stop and have it sit there and wait till our video session. And I get antsy, I'm like, oh, I want to do that. So it's fun when I'm just scrapbooking because I have free time and I get to scrapbook, because I love that I get to just actually go with my decision at the moment and go to completion and finish a page. And then typically that a lot of those pages I'll work them into a video that's coming up, but once in a while it just doesn't make it, just because it just doesn't fit whatever topics I'm doing soon. So
yeah, one thing I like about that, Noelle, is it's the big challenge that you described there is not being able to finish something. Right? Because you can't finish it. There's some external thing that's preventing you from finishing it.
Or mostly it's a struggle to finish.
Yeah, well, that's like the big struggle. And me, I'm sitting here going, man, I don't finish stuff all the time. And that's just all me.
Yeah, but layouts are, if you can't, layouts don't take that much time. When you're designing a website, or you're, putting together a massive product or something is what you're talking about, right?
No, I'm just talking about like cleaning my room or something.
Well, that's true too. That's a big project too. Yeah. So on the one hand, I would say a lot of my scrapbook is kind of to meet video content or meet a deadline in some way, but at the same time, it's still very much, this is what I want to do because I want to do it, and not because it's been demanded of me. Because I take on almost zero assignments outside of paper clipping. Like I do true scrap with Lane and almost nothing else. And I'm doing something right now with Debbie Hodge, and that's a rare exception. So to do anything else. Okay, so how does it feel? Here's the next question, ladies. How does it feel to share pieces of your personal life with strangers, basically, semi-strangers in some ways?
Wait, before you answer that, I want to give you an additional qualifier.
Okay.
And that is, how does it feel to be sharing pieces of yourself with strangers, which you already asked? And then I'm going to add, especially knowing that 0.2% of the population is a psychopath. Okay, go.
Oh.
Well, like I had mentioned before, not everything I create goes on my blog. And, I do art journaling and mixed media stuff too. So, a lot of times you do that messy writing just to camouflage what you're writing and not give away your whole life.
Oh, so that's what that messy writing in the art journaling is all about.
Exactly. It's like, you're never going to figure that out.
Oh, that is so funny.
Yeah, it's like Michelangelo. I do mine in Latin and backwards. So.
Totally.
So you camouflage a lot of yours so that you're not sharing all the personal stuff. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, I try to be authentic on my blog, and, because I've had some challenges in my personal life, infertility and stuff. Because I've been open about that, readers can then read it and identify with me if they have similar situations going on in their life. So I've gotten a lot of emails that like, this has nothing to do with scrapbooking or art, but so that's cool to have that relationship with people. But then sometimes you're at a scrapbook store and people are like, oh my goodness, Erin, and they're like talking to you about your life and you have no clue who they are. So it's a mixed bag.
Yeah. Or when you get advice that you weren't intending to ask,
Right. For sure.
It's unsolicited.
The unsolicited. I mean, it's wonderful that you've got this, you get on demand a wonderful support system from the people that are following you. But every once in a while, it's kind of like, I didn't really want that advice.
Exactly. Yeah.
Jennifer, what about for you? What is that like sharing? There is a lot. I mean, you lost a child with all these people watching.
I have an incredibly generous and kind following. I think that the haters tend to stay away. It's probably being talked about elsewhere because I haven't had that experience yet. They've been kind. They've gone above and beyond when my son passed and through all the other things that I've been through. So I'm more than happy to share it because they're good to me.
Yeah.
It's a good relationship.
That's nice. That's nice.
It's nice.
So you haven't ever had weird, awkward, or uncomfortable issues with sharing anything that you share personal?
No, I haven't. I'm sure that will happen. I save that for family. That's the family stuff, right? The family drama.
That's funny. Lane, how is it for you? Or do you share a lot of things? Do you keep things?
I'm pretty much an open book, I think. And the part about people knowing things about me, if there is something that I'm going through, like I went through a miscarriage several years ago with an unexpected pregnancy, and I let people know that there was something health related going on just because I wasn't around as much. But it wasn't until I'd processed it myself that I shared that publicly. And then when I did, I shared it very openly. I actually like the fact that I can connect with people all over the world. The part that is harder, I think, is what we were talking about, that when you open up your life, people feel like they can comment on anything and everything. Like I showed up at something once at a crop and somebody said, "Oh, I liked your hair better short." And I was like,
thanks.
That's the psychopath I was referring to.
Yeah.
It was just a weird kind of moment where I honestly said to her, I had said, I have no idea what to say to that, because it just was so, it was almost like, when everybody gets to vote on the Today wedding or whatever it is, what dress they're going to wear and things like that. Or I did a little contest once where I was at Costco and I said, guess how much, I took a picture of my cart. I said, guess how much my bill came to, and the person who's closest will get like a little random act of kindness gift from me. And there were all these comments about what was in my
What
shop.
you're buying.
Like,
I can't believe you bought that.
I don't see very much food in there. Do you really feed your kids that? And, and it's just like, you're missing the point. Yeah, it's more that level of things where it's an open invitation for people to comment. So.
Oh my gosh. It's kind of like when you're pregnant, your belly somehow is suddenly public property and everybody can touch it. But in this case, it's your personal life in some ways, right?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that is funny. Yeah, I mean, obviously, when I accidentally just start talking about the mating frogs out our front door, Izzy's like cringing, and things just come out of my mouth. So you can probably guess that I tend to easily share a lot of things. I mean, there are things that I won't share if they are dealing with other people, and I don't feel like it's my right to share. Something that is. Involves another person, and I don't know how they would feel about it.
My rule is I only share things about other people if I somehow found out about it. If somehow I found out about it, like I'm involved now because I know about it, so now I'm comfortable sharing.
I don't understand what you're saying. I know you're joking, but I can't figure it out.
I'm saying, never mind. That really bombed.
You want to try again? Try again. I just don't get it, so I don't know what to say.
Well, what I was saying is that I don't like to share things about other people unless I know about those things. And then I'm comfortable sharing because I'm involved. Do you see what I'm saying?
So it's not gossip. It's not a secondhand thing.
It's not secondhand. I heard this firsthand. You know what I mean?
And for those who don't know, like who really don't get Izzy yet, like he actually doesn't talk about other people.
No.
Where I might accidentally, refer to the mating practices of the people around me.
No, you do not. You do not.
I'm trying to get over
it. Explaining Izzy after how many episodes?
Right.
Yeah. What'd you say? Sorry, what was that?
She said she can't believe that I'm explaining you after all these episodes.
Or attempting to.
Well, we hope there's always new people.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, I mean, there are a few things. Like maybe on Facebook, I maybe overshare articles that I'm reading that are a little bit like social in nature. When I say social, I mean like pro-vegan or, like I'm excited about that and I want to share that. And then somebody will be maybe disagree with me, and then it becomes this argument I really didn't want to get into or a debate. Yes. But so that's the kind of thing that I definitely don't want to go into, in my scrapbooking world with my job. Like I'd rather just not go there. So in those types of things too, I would maybe keep private. But otherwise, I'm pretty much an open book, I think. And does it make me feel weird ever? Probably not. Okay, let's go to the next question. Unless somebody else had anything else they want to add to that. Okay. Do you ever or often use a different style of scrapbooking or do something different than what you would actually like to do on your own because it's an assignment or because it's your job? Maybe you're adding a lot more product to this than you normally would, and you don't really end up with room for the story, for example. Or maybe you're using a product you really don't want to use. Does that ever happen? And how often does it happen? Erin, does that happen?
All the time. Yeah, all the time. In fact, I crack up. It looks like I'm like schizophrenic or something when I go through pages that I've done, or like I'm looking at all my photos of projects I've, taken pictures of. Because, a lot of times, when you're working, you have certain parameters that you have to do for the company. So, they might need a certain theme with this product, and whatever different parameters. It must be 12 by 12, or maybe it's 8.5 by 11 or whatever. So you have so many boundaries around you that it makes it pretty interesting.
So do you have pages that you end up like throwing away when you're done because it was really just an assignment and it's not anything that you personally care about?
Oh, I remember one time I had an assignment for like kids Halloween type thing. Well, we don't really celebrate Halloween. It's just fall, kids trick or treating for us. And so I had to go and borrow somebody's picture of their kids, doing whatever. And it was like, okay, I'm done with this now. Do you want it? I don't even know if the journaling is right. I was just making up this fake family, basically, to get this done.
So did that parent want that page, or was it so not really applicable to them that they?
I think they did, and just switched out the journaling.
Okay.
But yeah, because they still love their kid, their photos or whatever. But yeah, I mean, there's just times where it's just getting that look that the manufacturer wants. So.
That's how magazines used to be. I'm not going to
Exactly.
speak to it currently because I haven't been involved in magazines for a while. But yeah, they put out a photo
Yep.
and say create with this photo, and the photo is not your children.
Yep, all the time.
Make up a name, make up a story.
Yes. Totally.
How funny. Yeah. What about you, Erin? No, I just did you, Erin.
Yes.
Jen.
I think I've been able to stay with my own style most of the time, my own photos. There's been a few times where I've had to use stock photos. I think it was kind of eye-opening for me. I had an experience a while back where I had an editor give me an assignment, give me a product line to work with, and there were no parameters, no rules after that. And when I submitted it, there were like 2 hours worth of changes back and forth to get it exactly how they wanted it. And I had never had that experience before. Typically, when I worked with editors and with magazines, they hired me because they wanted my style. And by the time it was done, it was not me at all. And I just turned down assignments with them.
Wow.
Moving forward, because it just, what was the point of hiring me?
Yeah.
If you didn't want my style. So I found that really interesting. But I do think that is more of the old trend and less of the new trend.
Well, it's interesting that they didn't even give you they clearly
No.
wanted something specific.
No.
Maybe they didn't realize that, that there are other options to go.
Maybe. It was not my favorite assignment. That's for sure.
Did you see that happen a lot, Lane, with the magazine that you were with Simple Scrapbooks?
And before that, Scrapbook Answers.
Oh.
Yeah, it was very common. I remember one time in Simple they would have a featured scrapbooker each month. It was somebody from the staff typically. And they said, it was the same kind of situation where they said, just send in your favorite layouts. And I sent them in and they didn't want any of them. And I remember it was the first time I had ever felt like my scrapbooking wasn't good enough. And I remember they had a certain idea of how it was going to fit in with the design of the magazine. And it wasn't until I dug a little deeper and said, okay, can you give me a color theme to work with? What about this isn't right? Can you give me some more guidance here? That I was able then to give them what they wanted, because it was supposed to be this feature about me with 5 of my layouts or something like that. So yeah, that's pretty common.
That's interesting. I used to, years ago, I had a monthly column that I wrote for like an online e-zine, and they didn't edit my stuff. I don't know if they edited it at all. They were pretty free. It was, just a small thing probably. And, but sometimes other books or magazines would want to take my articles and reprint them in their thing. And this woman was writing a book and she wanted my article. I'm like, sure. And then she came back to me and she said, okay, I have an editor. She wants to make these changes. And I look at it and I'm like, okay, let's try to figure this out. So I worked with them a little bit and I changed some things the way I wanted it, to sound more like me. And she comes back with it like totally certain parts completely rewritten in words I would never use. It was like almost embarrassing to me that like that's so not me. I mean that it's factually accurate to my life, but that doesn't sound like me. And I finally said, okay, you know what? Just change my name, because I don't want my name on something that has a totally different voice from me. And it wasn't that like I wanted to hide anything, but it's like you're saying with the scrapbook page, Jen. It's just when it's somebody else's expectations sometimes, or they have a certain style or a look that they want portrayed for what they do, you totally lose control over that.
I didn't like how contrived. If that is how, I think it's editorial styles. When I served as an editor, my approach was, I trust you. I'm hiring you because I like your voice. I like your style. I think other editors prefer to have a cohesive look through the whole magazine, but that's not my style. I don't want to see the same thing on every single page. I think when you're that hands-on, I think you lose the creativity of the industry. So
yeah, no kidding. The
it's challenging.
individuality.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Lane, did I ask you if you ever? Oh well, you know, because you get to just do your own scrapbooking.
Yeah,
so you
but
haven't
you know
had to
what?
change.
She has to do it by the spin board. Let's not forget about
That's
the spin
right. You're totally compromising.
Mode, which is the month-long scrapbooking challenge that we do several times a year, where there's a daily prompt.
Yeah.
Oftentimes those are meant to stretch people, and there will be something in there that won't be my typical style. My typical style is pretty clean and simple, story-driven. Usually one photo, 8.5 by 11, but I really want to shake things up for everybody and get them out of any preconceived rules or ruts. So I'll say something like, do a page with no journaling, or do a page with no title, where the title for me is extremely important. But just going through that process with them, one, it reminds me what it feels like to break the quote unquote rules. And I'm totally doing finger quotes here. You can't see me. And also, it can have me shake up and question things. Why is it that I always use a title? Do I still want to scrapbook that way? Is that still serving me? So yeah, I often will shake things up on purpose, but it's internally driven.
Okay. Yeah. For me, I did do a few magazine assignments back in the day, and there was one where I was told I had to write in, I was scrapbooking about my mother, and I had to write it in her voice as if, like a writer would, as if I were her. But so I didn't get to say my mom or she. It was me and I, but it was my mom and not me that I was talking about. And that, I loved the page, but I didn't like the voice of the actual journaling. I didn't like that part of it because I didn't feel like I was really capturing my mom's voice. And I didn't feel like it was mine either. Maybe I could have tried harder to be my mom's voice, but it just felt fake because they weren't her words, you know? So that one, I liked the page, I liked the assignment, except for with that one exception. And I would have, it wasn't like on a journaling block where I could just change the journaling now. But the only way really that happens with me now, for the most part, is where I might do something slightly different is when when I'm making a video. I mentioned that I'll usually be scrapbooking first, and then I come up with the topic. So I would say that my pages are genuinely almost always what I typically would want to do. But usually I like to have a few examples in my video. So let's say I'm doing it on a design topic. I like to make 2 or 3 pages on camera. And so I'll sometimes that third page, I do have to kind of fit it to the topic a little bit. And so once in a while is probably the case where I may have done it slightly different, but not in a big significant way. But that does happen a little bit there. So how has your scrapbooking changed since, okay, wait, let me reread this. How has, I did not write this well. Were you guys reading some of my questions going, what the heck?
We just figured that Izzy wrote them.
Oh, wow.
Izzy's a good writer.
Thank you.
Izzy's better at I am than checking what I've looked at. You know, if I'm just doing something really quick and it's not going to be like seen by the world.
Okay, so just so you guys know, I'm really embarrassed, because I actually edited like 5 or 6 things after Noelle sent it to me, and I sent it to you, the edited version, okay?
Okay, I'm looking at the unedited version.
Oh.
No, I'm looking at my version.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that explains everything.
Yeah. Clearly, when I send out these topic things to our readers, I don't always double check what I've sent out. Not to the readers, to the guests. And every once in a while, I look at my question. I'm like, oh my gosh.
That's nothing. I've sent out the same template to people before, because I use a template for that email. Obviously, I'm not going to generate that whole thing every week from scratch, right? And I've sent it with like the previous
info.
names, and they'll be like, wait, didn't you guys just cover this topic last week? And and I screw that email up all the time. So.
That's funny.
All right, Noelle, did I recover?
Well, yeah.
You're up.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see if I can figure out this question.
Okay.
Okay.
So the answer's no.
So now that you're a professional, like being a professional, has that changed your approach to scrapbooking or your philosophy of memory keeping or your process because you're now, you have this job and you're professional?
Well, I think it streamlines it a lot because, you have to be a lot more organized when you're doing it for real. You can't just have a deadline and, oh, let me sort through all my photos and see if I can find something. You have to be able to find that stuff quickly. So for me, that's really helped process-wise as far as fine-tuning all those type of things.
I kind of think, don't you? I kind of think that's why a lot of times it's the people who work in the industry don't scrapbook chronologically. Because sometimes it's just not, well, usually it's not going to fit if you have an assignment. You can't just scrapbook the next thing you have, but also you may not be inspired and you need some of that inspiration to get you going. And if you are inspired to do something else, but your next thing in line, you can't just kind of wait. No, I'll scrapbook later. You got to scrapbook now. So it's easier. Whereas a lot of people who are not in the industry are scrapbooking just the next thing that happened. Not so much now because that got taught to not scrapbook chronologically. But so what about you, Lane? Has your approach in any way or your philosophy changed?
I agree that I've become much more streamlined. And I also, when I teach something, I have to fully understand it myself. So I find myself questioning a lot of not, should I do this, but why am I choosing this? Why am I doing it this way? Is this fulfilling the intent? So I am much more intentional, and I think more about why I'm scrapbooking. Whereas at the beginning, it was a lot about the products and the photos, and now the shift is really for me to the story, where that's why I do it, and that's what I want to inspire in other people as well. So it's definitely shifted over the years. Would that have happened organically? Probably not to the same extent, but I may have even stopped scrapbooking because it didn't serve the purpose that I was really striving for, the one that really fulfills me. So.
Ah, interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. What about you, Erin?
Oh, I was the first to answer. That's okay.
You were?
Yes.
You and Jen's voices are not quite different enough.
Yeah, we blame you.
Voice twins. Okay, Jen.
I think I'm still, I actually started scrapbooking right when I got in the industry. I don't know how that happened, but I am so product driven. I'll shop my products first, then I go looking for a story I haven't told yet. And I don't know how to scrapbook any other way now.
Because that's how your job dictates it.
Yeah, and it works for me. The one thing I have noticed is when I first started working for design teams, it was theme, Christmas, St. Patrick's Day, all those things. I find that I prefer to do more emotional-based scrapbooking. I prefer to leave a message of love, encouragement, how I felt about them rather than straight themes. So I think that that's one way I've rebelled against my job.
That's funny. I don't feel like I could put my finger on like every specific thing that is, because of my job. But I know that because it's my job, I have to think, just because I teach, I have to think a lot more about why I'm doing what I'm doing. And so that's why I have like specific processes or systems or things like that, more than I would have had I not been teaching or have this as a job. So it forces me to think more about what I'm doing and why, and what would be in my mind a cooler way to do it or a cooler thing. And so I think that probably is the reason for everything that I do now, probably in scrapbooking, where if I didn't have this as a job and I were just scrapbooking, I probably wouldn't have changed quite as much or evolved quite as much or thought about it nearly as much. It's probably just going along with what I was doing before. So yeah. Okay. So Izzy, are we totally out of time? I know you gave me the warning because there was one.
Yeah, we need to wind up.
Okay, we'll skip that last question. Some of you might have had an awesome story about how you've been approached in public, though.
Oh, whoa. No, we have to do this.
Well, and maybe like a dud because maybe nobody has an awesome story about being approached in public.
Okay.
Okay, so now let's go there really quick. Do you ever get approached in public by people who know you?
I bet Lane does all the time.
Not all the time, but I do get approached occasionally. Yeah. And probably the best story was that I was traveling to California to visit my sister in San Jose, and we were in Baja Fresh, and we came from the pool, so I'm looking horrible. And I go up to the counter and place my order, and this lady behind me goes, "Excuse me, are you Lane?" I said, "Why, yes, I am." It was a listener named Gwendolyn. If she's listening, hi, Gwen. And she just recognized my voice, I think, first, because I was looking so bad. So thank goodness for the voice. It's really cool. And then another time I was in Disney World, and I ran into like 3 different people, and it was awesome because my kids are like, "Wow, you really are famous." And I'm like, yeah.
3 different people. How funny.
Well, that's funny.
It was really cool.
That's funny.
I'm just glad she didn't go, "I liked your hair before you went in the pool."
Oh, that's funny. All right. Any other last fun stories about that? Okay, we'll move on. That was awesome, Lane. I don't have any really good stories. I mean, mine have been very minimal. So, all right. Let's do our sponsor message. Izzy, our second sponsor message.
This show is also brought to you by the Paperclipping company itself. See, what you're listening to right now is the Paperclipping Roundtable, the audio show that we do radio style, except even cooler. I don't know why I did the squeak sound.
You're mixing it up.
I mixed it up. That was so weird.
It just happened.
It just happened. And it's even cooler. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, you would never hear this show on the radio because they have quality standards, you know. But you know, what you're listening to is the audio show that we do for the community. We also have a lot more that we offer at Paperclipping. The thing that I want to promote this week is the romantic scrapbooking course again. If you're listening to this and you haven't gone through the romantic scrapbooking course, go check it out. It's worth exploring. It's a course that Noelle put together that's all about ideas and inspiration and techniques and all kinds of things that you can do to help take your scrapbooking, your relationship with your significant other to the next step. There is some good stuff in there. And when I say good stuff, I'm talking about things other than me. I am in there quite a bit. It is my favorite thing I've ever shot, I have to say, out of probably every single video project we've ever done for Paperclipping. That one was just fantastic. It was so much fun. Anyway, but what the big message is it's a huge way to further, I don't know, develop and fall in love with your relationship with your significant other. It's awesome. Go check it out. And it's inexpensive. There's a lot of content in there. You can learn more at paperclipping.com/romantic. And we'll also have a link to that in the show notes for this episode. So go check it out.
Thank you, Izzy.
Hey, my pleasure.
All right, let's do our picks of the week. We will start with, let's start with Erin. What's your pick, Erin?
Well, if you follow me on any social media, you know I'm a huge Instagrammer. I love Instagram. And so when We Are Memory Keepers came out with those little 4x4 ring albums, they are just perfect. I love them. So now they have like classic leather and I think like a gold and a bronze and like other fun colors. But I think they're just really fun. You can print out either 2x2. They have like sleeves for those, or the 4x4 pictures. So it's just fun to be able to make little tiny scrapbooks with that, and just the ease of the pocket pages, just plop them right in.
Those things are so cute. I haven't had any project come up yet where I have a need to get one of those, but they're just so cute. You want to just do it just to do it, right?
I remember seeing those at CHA.
Yeah.
They're like little miniature big albums.
Yes.
But they're little, yeah.
And they're little.
And they're great colors, the mint and the peach and the gold. Oh my gosh, yeah. They're great. Yeah. All right, good pick. How about Lane? What's your pick?
Oh, I've got a good one. So that was good too.
But mine's better.
This is good. So I have a class that I taught from True Scrap 2. So it's a little bit ago, but the information is still totally applicable. And it's called Show Me the Money, a Dozen Ways to Make Money Scrapbooking. And I thought it fit in really well with today's topic, because a lot of times when people think about making money or making a career out of scrapbooking, they have a pretty limited idea of what that looks like. And there are so many options. So I wanted to offer that. And Izzy, I'm going to send the link over to you so you can use your affiliate link for paper clipping. And then also I've got a coupon code for your audience, and they can use the coupon code PRT for 25% off this. It's about I think it's about 40-minute video class through September 15th. So I'll send that all over to you so you can link it up in the show notes. But it just goes through some ideas that people may not have thought about if they're interested in turning their hobby into a moneymaker.
Elaine, is that, so it's like a pre-recorded, or it's already put together, and it's got some tips and, okay. Awesome. Thank you, Elaine. All right. And let's go to Jennifer.
We should have led with Lane. Coupon codes, all this. I'm like, come on, Lane. I picked, since I'm setting up my scrapbook room, I picked the Stash and Store collection by Totally Tiffany. And they fit, I know everyone has the Expedite shelves, but now they're the Calyx shelves. Apparently they fit inside them, but they're these little containers to organize things like mist and ribbon and paper, and I'm always looking for new ways to store my stuff. So that is my pick of the week.
Wait, so did they change? Is it the same shelf, but IKEA changed the name?
They changed the outer dimensions. So the outside shelves are a little thinner, but the inner dimensions are exactly the same. So anything you had that was stored before will still fit. They're just trying to cut down on the amount of wood. They're trying to go a little more green. So yeah.
Interesting.
Yes. So if you buy any and trying to match your old stuff, it won't work. I speak from experience.
It doesn't match it doesn't fit in the old Expedite ones.
Well, the inner box that you would put in there is the same dimensions, but the look of it, you know, your Expedites are different. So
if you have two together,
it
old one, new one, it's different.
Okay.
Yeah, you can totally tell.
Okay, got it. All right. And ladies, thank you for all having great picks, because it's making up for the fact that I do not have a pick this week.
I swear every time I'm on, you don't have a pick.
What? That's only happened once before, I thought.
If this we got to somehow get you, maybe we should have people start sending you free product.
No.
What do you think, Noelle? Because you need more you need more products. So
I can't do a pick every single week. I can't.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah. I mean, I did it for all this time we've been doing the roundtable. It's just recently I'm like, I just can't keep up with it.
We need a spinner then.
Because I can't go back to my old stuff.
We need a spinner with products, and then you spin it, and that's your pick.
I mean, I could repick stuff that I've already picked before. In fact, I may have done that on accident
a number of times. You can say, I have a repick this week. I think that's fine.
A repick?
A repick, yeah.
Maybe I'll try to do that next time I don't have a pick.
There you go.
Or do a people's pick and have your readers.
Well, people have been doing picks in the forums. Have you seen that,
Yeah,
Noelle?
I could just pick one of those.
There you go.
This is the people's pick. Okay.
You know, you can pick your friends.
Oh, come on.
But you can't pick the people's pick.
Let's go around the table and let everybody know where they can find you. Lane, we'll start with you. Where can people find you?
The best place to find me is at layoutaday.com and facebook.com/layoutaday.
What do you want to say about True Scrap coming up? You can add that in real quick.
Yes, October 17th, 18th. It's all day on the 18th. 8 live classes where the instructors are right there presenting a video that they've pre-recorded. So you're getting all the quality of a pre-recorded and edited video with the benefit of being able to interact with the instructor live. So it's October 18th all day, and then the evening of the 17th, we're doing a little PJ party with virtual make and takes and things like that. And you can find out about that. Just check the show notes for a link there.
For people that aren't familiar with this at all, we should probably mention that it's like going to a conference, except it's all virtual over your computer.
Exactly.
And
jammies.
I love it because it's like this happy medium. Okay, so, you know, people love going to events, but they're expensive and you have to fly there and they're inconvenient and all that stuff. And they're, you know, they cost a lot, not the entrance, but the hotel and the travel and all that stuff. And this one, this is a higher price than just paying for a regular class, most classes over the web, but you have the live interaction and you have the community and the chat and all that stuff too. So it's this like perfect medium between a class that you would normally buy off the web and a live event that you'd go to. It's right there smack in between.
Right. And you get recordings of everything too. So you're going to get 8-hour-long recordings of classes. So if you go to a live class at a CKC or something like that, oftentimes it's moving really quick or you have to choose between classes because the two you want to take are at the same time. This way you don't. You get everything for one price and you get full recordings so you can enjoy the experience and then go back later and say, oh, how did Jen do this? Or what did Noelle do here? Or Aaron's did this, da-da-da-da. You can see, you can follow along and watch that recording as many times as you like as well.
And somehow, Lane, you've managed to like make it so exciting though. It's like a big party. It's really
an event.
fun.
It totally is.
Yeah,
it
it's
is
a big
an
event.
It is.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun. It's really a lot of fun.
All right. So that's where Lane is. Jen, where can people find you?
At jengallagher.blogspot.com.
In your new home, preparing for True Scrap.
Yes. I guess I better start my video, huh, Lane?
You still have
Blood
time.
pressure just went up. No,
And Aaron, where can people find you?
I'm at aaronbassett.com, and that's with 2 S's and 2 T's. So I'm there, and then any social media, I'm Aaron Bassett. So you can find me.
And you're also, are you in a new home or getting ready to move into one?
Yeah, we just moved a few months ago. And so, yeah, I still got some boxes that I don't know if I'll ever finish unpacking.
Yeah, we moved 13 or 14 months ago and we still have boxes.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
not only that, we have a box in our living room. I just
Yes.
noticed
Yes.
it. It's become a fixture there that I
You
don't even
forget.
notice it
I
anymore.
know.
Yeah.
I walked
yeah,
by
we
it and I
have
went,
a couple too.
I wonder what's in there.
I know. I notice it when people are getting ready to come over. I'm like,
Yes.
oh gosh.
That's the only time that I'm like, oh, I still have these boxes.
Yeah. Izzy, where can people find you?
People can find me at izzyvideo.com.
And you can find me at paperclipping.com. Also getting ready for the True Scrap event. Super excited about it. Watch your emails this week. There are special things going on related to the event in the email. So pay attention to that. And then we'll also have a link at the blog post in the show notes for this episode of the Roundtable. That's it for today, ladies. Thanks so much for coming on the show with us. We will see you all next time at the table.